Well, here we are. We are already at the halfway point of the 2011 Grand Prix for Offline Championship season, and we're here for the ninth round for the British Grand Prix at the home of British Motorsport, the Silverstone International Circuit, on the new layout using the new pit complex. And I am your host for today. I am George Roke, and welcome to the midway point of the season. It's amazing how quickly the season has gone so far. But first of all, we will go over the race rating and the driver of the day. So the race rating was given a 6.5, which I was kind of surprised about. I thought it'd be given a lot lower, to be honest, considering the race was poor. No surprise. But the driver of the day was given to Florian Volker for taking his first victory of the season, and of course Red Bull's first victory of the season. So we're here at Silverstone, obviously using the new layout with the new section, Abbey to the arena and farm. So we've got, obviously they've still got the famous corners on the track. We've got Magnus Beckett's, we've got the Hangar Straight, we've got Stowe, all the famous corners. We've still got the old pits that we're not using this year. Lap record is Joseph Wheeler set in 2010. But anyway, enough of that. Here is the grid. So on pole position is Florian Volker, followed by Evan Byrne in second place, the two main rivals in the championship. Third place is Waze Cooper, followed by Michael Scal, fourth, and McLaren. Fifth place is Felix Sontag, and sixth is Alex Southgate, fourth, and all Mercedes, third row on the grid. Seventh place is Viggo Holst for India, and in eighth place is James Williams. Not particularly good qualifying for Willows. He needs to get a good result if he wants to if he still wants to have a chance of winning the title. Ninth place is Ronan Mortier, followed by Jamie McKenzie in 10th place for Renault. As we go further down the order, in 11th place is Joseph Williams, a disappointing qualifying by his standards, with George Roke in 12th for Renault. As we go on to the 7th row of the grid, in 13th place is Amar Khan, and in 14th place Robert Ionescu, and all Toro Rosso line up on the 7th row. As we head on to the 8th row of the grid, 15th and 16th place. 15th place is Alan Wolf, followed by Lucas Levi, the Singaporean, in 16th place. Took his first points of the season at Valencia by taking 7th. Sam Thompson is in 17th place, followed by Rivki Parkrasane in 18th. And on the 10th row of the grid, I was about to say the last because there's 22 cars, I forget. On the 10th row of the grid is Michael Mocho and Sean Grant. And on the final row of the grid is Roman Quagg and Xavier Quinlan, the Australian for Virgin, on the last row of the grid. So there we are, that is the grid for the British Grand Prix. So it's done 52 laps. And let's have a look at what the weather will be for the race. As you can see, it will be typical British weather, of course. It will be raining throughout the whole race. It will only be light rain, noticeably, but it could get heavy at around about the 30-minute mark and the hour mark. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out during the race. But the most important factor is it will be wet for the British Grand Prix. Not a surprise, as we are now set to go over the grid. And here we are on the grid. We're using, obviously, the new pit complex this year. It was built last year, but we're using the old pits down the straight before Copse. Now here come the lights on. We now have 4 lights, and we now have 5 lights. And we're on the raid. The British crowd roars as the cars go off the grid. And who's going to make the best start? The crowd cheering for Byrne, even though he may be Irish, but they'll still cheer for him nonetheless. He's close to English, but Volker keeps the lead coming through Farm as they come into the new section as they head towards the arena. As now Kuba's moved up to second. He's actually got past Byrne. Sontag in 4th, trying to make a move on Byrne for 3rd. As they come into the section, there was a bit of debris flying at the back. I think there was a collision. I'm not too sure. But Florian Volker makes a great start. Kuba in 2nd. Evan Byrne in 3rd. We see if the crowd cheers for him. I imagine they probably will. He's Irish, so he's close to English, I guess. But now Evan Byrne tries to make a move on Kuba for 2nd place as they come into Brooklands. And George Roke is out. George Roke is out. One of the British drivers is out after just 3 corners. What a poor start. That's exactly what he didn't need. And that is in exactly the way he didn't want it to start. He won the race back in 2008, did George Roke, but unfortunately it has not gone well for him this season. So what happened here? So let's have a look. We're on board with him, so it was getting quite tight. There was debris flying. Although it looks like it was a collision between the 2 Williams drivers again. It looked like it started off by Sam Thompson, who went into the back of Wolf, who then went into the back of George Roke, who was lucky not to go right into the car in front of him. Let's go on board, and you can see clear contact there from Thompson, and he goes into the back of Roke, and once again the Williams drivers are involved in another collision. So looks like everyone else has got away with damage. Oh wait, no they haven't. There's a Toro Rosso that's lost its rear wing. I believe, is that Amar Khan? I'm not sure. As Ricky Parkrasane is involved as the car's battling to try and get through here. Michael Mocho trying to get past Thompson as he goes round the outside of Luffield as he heads down the old pit straight There's Sean Grant at the back in 21st position, but Florian Volker has the lead. Evan Berners take it back second. As Southgate, there's Holst in 7th, right behind Southgate. Moyton 9th, James Willers in 9th. As they head through Milos Gow and Fist, they come through Maggots and Beckett for the first time. Gow, who's right behind Felix Sontag as they come onto the Hanger Straight. And will Gow make a move coming into Stowe? We shall see. As on board with James Willers as the cars are all battling through. It's Ionescu. So was it Ionescu who was involved? Because obviously we saw Toro Rosso losing a rear wing. So let's have a look and see what happened at the start. And it looks like it was Armar Carr. And was it Ionescu that hit him? Let's have a look and see. And it was once again they're involved. And I think Ionescu lost his front wing as well. And very unfortunately there, the Toro Rosso drivers, they once again collide. They cannot seem to stay away from each other, even though they're teammates. They seem to collide with everyone else. Carl notably kept on having collisions with George Roke and also with his teammate, and it's still continuing on. So we look down the old pit straight. So they head down the Hanger Straight for the first time, but at least they won't have long to get to the pits. Let's see if they lose that much time. But Carl at the moment in last place is George Roke's car still getting moved away from the tyres. So they head through Vale and head through Club. At the end of the first lap, there's Sontag in 5th with James Willers in 8th. James Willers, and James Willers came right onto the track there, and he's taken out the Sauber of Lucas Levi. It's absolutely destroyed his car, and the car, I think, just hit Levi's stricken car in the middle of the straight, and that was Robert Ionescu, I think it was. But oh my goodness me, as you can see, Lucas Levi's car, the rear end is completely been torn off by the impact of James Willers coming back onto the circuit. Oh my goodness me, that was a horrendous crash. So what happened here? And let's have a look and see. So, and there was another car off. There was Roland Moyton who had gone off as well. And so James Willers was battling Roland Moyton. He was on the inside as they came into Stowe. And was there contact? And yes, there was. And James Willers lost his front wing. Moyton, I think, went off into the barriers. Would have been very surprised if we avoided that. But then James Willers tried to rejoin the track and just came on, look at right into the path of Lucas Levi. I don't know what he was thinking there. He almost seemed like he was doing it on purpose. And he just came right into the path of Levi, who had absolutely nowhere to go. And unfortunately for Lucas Levi, after his points in Valencia, his race is over after less than one lap. But that is poor driving there from James Willers. You can see the car is completely destroyed. And wow, that was a scary, scary crash there. And so let's have a look. I think it was Ionescu that hit it. And Ionescu, he didn't expect Levi's car to be there, and he hit it again. Fortunately, he only lost more of his front wing, but he was right near the pits anyway. But oh my goodness me, that was a horrendous crash. Let's hope Levi is okay. But here's the view from Moyton. So you can see coming around the corner, you can see that was going to happen. You can see, and Moyton got lifted up into the air. And unfortunately, I believe he did hit the wall. And yes, he did hit the wall. He clipped it, so you can see he goes right up in the air there and loses control in the wet conditions right in front of the fans. And Moyton is out of the race, disappointing for him. But for James Willers, you can see, look at that, it just comes right in front. Just Levi was not expecting that whatsoever. But I imagine the stewards will give him a penalty. That we shall find out at the end of the race whether that happens. But unfortunately for Levi, for James Willers, for Moyton and for Roke, 4 cars out on lap 1. What a dramatic start to the race this has been. They're still waving yellow flags. They're still trying to get rid of Roke's car. Car's in the pits. Ionescu's in the pits. Let's hope they don't hold each other up too long. Wolf's in the pits as well. As now we're on lap 2. Here's Michael Gow trying to make a move on Felix Sontag coming down the Hanger Straight as they head towards Stowe. And Matt Gow is right behind. He's going to make a move on Sontag. Sontag defends, and he was so nearly contact. He was right behind him. As Southgate is right behind these two as well, as the yellow flags are finally gone away. Southgate is right behind Joseph Willers. It's also close up behind Southgate as they head in towards Vale. And Joseph Willers makes a move on the inside, and he makes the move stick. He's up into he's up into 4th, and there's something happened. And Sontag struck to 7th, and Gow, I believe, had a collision with Felix Sontag. And let's have a look at this. So he was right behind him, and unfortunately they just got a bit too close for comfort, and Gow spun there, and Sontag went off, and he dropped down to 7th, and he dropped behind Viggo Holst as well in the process. So unfortunately for Gow, he shot down the 9th. That's not what he wanted, but good for Jay McKenzie there. He's even for Joseph Willers as well. To 4th, and Alex Southgate is now spun, and looks like, was this a collision from Viggo Holst? Let's have a look and see. Or did he go off by his own accord? And he went off by his own accord, just went understeered completely, coming through Brooklands. And that's a bad mistake there from Southgate in front of his home fans as well. That's not particularly what he wanted. But anyway, he spins out, and that is going to be him losing, well, probably the chance of a podium. He can still get points from this race because many cars probably won't finish in these conditions. But unfortunately for him, that means a chance of a podium is for sure gone. So he rejoins quite a few places. He rejoined at the back. You see Quinlan's moved up to 10th place. Thompson's up to 9th. This is Kuba. At the moment, on his own in 3rd, Volker and Evan Byrne are I believe, close to each other. So here's a battle for 13th place between Ricky Farquharson and Sean Grant. Farquharson, who's stuck in the middle, in the back, when obviously the collisions during the field, and unfortunately he's been stuck. And Farquharson's gone wide, coming through Maggots and Beckett, and he's spun. Unfortunately for Ricky Farquharson, it's been a pretty poor season so far. Aside from his point finish in Australia, it's gone pretty much downhill from there. He's struggled to maintain consistency, and unfortunately, once again, he is off the track by a mistake of his own accord. He showed how dominant he was in GP2, but people were thinking, would he still be able to make the step up to F1? And although in the first race he proved he could, still unfortunately hasn't had any luck. And Wade Cooper is now off, and that is, I believe, at Stowe. And he's rejoining, so he's got away with it. There's a bit of debris there. Joseph Willers is in the pit. So has something happened with 2 Ferraris? And I think it has. And Joseph Willers, who had caught up to his teammate Wade Cooper, and coming into Stowe, and was there was a collision, wasn't there? And yes, there was. And Joseph Willers lost his front wing. Absolutely incredible. Unfortunately, it was just before the pits. But Willers actually goes right off onto the grass there, struggling to control the car on these wet conditions, and he goes right into pits there. But oh my goodness me, the Ferrari bosses will be absolutely furious at these two. We'll take each other out there. Here's Michael Mocho battling with Xavier Quinlan. This is a battle for 8th place, the last point on lap 6, as they come round Stowe, and there was contact, and Michael Mocho, I think, has made contact, and he's out the race, and he's lost his front right wheel, and unfortunately for him, he is out of the race. That is 7 retirements, I believe, in 9 races. It's an horrendously unwanted record, and that is something that Mocho will not like to see, and he is out of this race. Very unfortunate there for the British driver, but unfortunately you could see that coming. It was just very tight between the two. Mocho was trying to move around the outside of Quinlan as they came through Stowe, and it was very side by side, and Mocho was keeping it around the outside. And you can see, let's have a look what happened. I mean, I suppose maybe Quinlan didn't, I mean, there was just about enough room for them there. Maybe Mocho moved over Quinlan, maybe, I'm not sure. There's Sean Grant coming through, and then as we look on board with Quag, who's made contact with Quinlan, and Quag goes off, and the Lotus drivers once again cannot seem to keep their car away from other cars. They might as well just retire from this, might as well just have a magnet on them. They seem to attract cars every race so far. As there's Joseph Willers battling past Roman Quag. As they come to Maggots and Beckett, Joseph Willers goes a bit wide there, and he goes wide again. He gets a bit of understeer in these wet conditions. He's obviously struggling from that collision with Wade Cooper. It's obviously damaged the car. He manages to control it, but unfortunately he's lost a lot of time there to Quag in front of him. But he'll want to make the recovery as soon as possible. He's still in 11th, so he still has a chance of points. But currently Sean Grant is in the points as well as this car off, and that's Felix Sontag. That's coming through Copse, and that coming past the old pit straight, and it looks like he made a mistake of his own accord. He was running in 4th place, and he goes wide there, and onto the Astro, onto the grass, and he loses control of the car. Unfortunately for Sontag, that means his chance of a podium is gone, and he stops really on the racing line. Not a particularly great place to stop there, but as you can see, he just goes wide. Once he goes onto the Astro, it's so wet out there. Absolutely no grip whatsoever. As now Jay McKenzie's actually got past him now, as Alex Southgate is battling with him. As Sontag there, not exactly in the most ideal places right there, but Car's having to slow down to go past him, but he eventually rejoined. And Armagh Car's out of the race, and once again a nightmare for Armagh Car. It's just not been Toro Rosso's year, and especially not for Armagh Car. It's been a pretty horrendous season so far. Last season wasn't particularly good for him either, but he did outscore his teammate Robert Ionescu. But it has not gone right for him this season. He's been notable with collisions with his teammate Robert Ionescu. He's been notable with collisions with George Roque. It's just not happened for him. As now Sean Grant comes in for his first stop of the Grand Prix. As we now have another yellow flag out. What has happened now? There's action going on everywhere at the moment. And Joseph Willers is off again at coming into Vale. And what has happened here? He's battling with Alex Southgate, and he made contact, and he did make contact with Southgate's car. And Joseph Willers is around. Southgate just manages to keep it on the road. But it's an absolutely nightmare race for Joseph Willers and for the British fans. It's not gone well for the British drivers, unlike in real life where Lewis Hamilton comfortably won the British Grand Prix this year. And it's won for the last, I think, 2 or 3 years, but it's just not happening for the British drivers here in the OC today. As Sean Grant comes in for his first stop, they've got obviously that notable Cars sponsor on the front. As let's see how quickly they come out of the pits. It's a 10.5 second stop. They come out the new pits. Looks quite nice, the Silverstone wing. And where will Sean Grant come out? He'll come out behind Ionescu. Will he come out ahead of Wolf? Will be interesting to see. And let's go on board as we're on board with Evan Byrne, who's right behind Florian Volker. These two have got well away from Viggo Holst. Look at that, 18.8 seconds they've got away from Holst. And I didn't know that Holst was in third, but he obviously took third after Kuba and Joseph Willows took each other out. And Evan Byrne here is making an attempt for the lead as they come into Stowe. And is he going to make the move stick? And it's still side by side. And has Byrne kept it? And yes, he has. And Evan Byrne takes the lead of the Grand Prix on lap 11. So they go now on to lap 12. And let's see what will happen. I mean, Volker will be coming in soon. You can see his fuel, 4.8 litres left. Here is Miguel Escobar attacking Jay Mackenzie, who's running in fourth. His best so far this season. He's doing well with Mackenzie. Seems to have got rid of that bad luck which has haunted him last season and the moment this season. But Escobar going to make a move around the outside, and there was so nearly contact, but he has to concede the position to Mackenzie for now. Now Evan Byrne comes into the pits for his first stop of the Grand Prix. Will he go for a 2-stop or a 3-stop? I imagine it will probably be a 2-stop. There's only 52 laps in this race. It is quite short, this race, due to the length of the track. Let's see where he comes out on track. So Volker has obviously already gone past, so let's see when Volker comes in. I imagine he'll probably come in the next lap or two. So will Volker Volker will try the overcut and see if he can get back in front of Evan Byrne. I imagine Red Bull will probably have to respond to this. As let's see where Byrne comes out. Will he get held up in traffic or whatnot? We shall see. Where will he come out on track will be very interesting to see. Will he come out ahead of Viggo Holst in third? That will be very interesting to see. And he comes out of the pit. And where is Viggo Holst? And Viggo Holst has actually got out, is ahead of him. Now that could be very interesting indeed. If Volker pits soon, and he does, he pits this lap. So now this could be very, very interesting to see. Will Volker get back out in front of Evan Byrne if Byrne is not got past Viggo Holst yet? And he hasn't. You can see on the graphic at the top, he's currently behind him. Excuse me. And will Volker come out ahead of Byrne and obviously of Holst as well? That would be very interesting to see. So he comes out the pits a 9.2 second stop. That was over a second quicker than Byrne, and that could make all of the difference. Let's see where he will come out on track. Will he come out ahead of Holst and Byrne? That would be very interesting to see. As there's Holst and Byrne, they're right behind each other. It's going to be very close, I think. Will he come out ahead or will he come out behind? It's going to be very close indeed. And where is Volker? Has he come out the pits yet? And I don't see. Where is he? He's come out behind Holst, but he's come out ahead of Evan Byrne. That is crucial, and the overcut has worked for Florian Volker, and he takes back the lead as they're currently stuck behind Viggo Holst, who is yet to pit. He's got a lot more fuel than these guys, so he's going longer, but Viggo Holst will be leading a Grand Prix, I believe, for the first time in his OC history. But Evan Byrne is right behind. He wants to take advantage to get past Byrne while he's being held up by Holst, who's out in front. Will Byrne make a move? And yes, he does, or no, does he? Side by side. Volker holds it round the outside, coming through left field, and he does keep it for the moment, but Byrne is surely going to try and overtake him on the hanger straight before Copse. And let's see if he does make the move. He's going to be right behind him. I'll have the slipstream, although he'll have a lot of water in his face from the spray. As he's right behind us, they now come onto the hanger straight. The DRS will be activated. Well, it won't be activated, I should say, because obviously it doesn't work in the wet. But will he go around the outside of Volker? The answer is he's still there, but he can't quite make the mistake. Volker holds it very well indeed, as that gives Holst a chance to get away up front. I know obviously he'll have to pit anyway, but still he'll be enjoying this as he'll lead a lap for the first time in his history in the OC as he comes around the final corner past the Silverstone wing, and he leads a lap. That will be a historic moment for him. Evan Byrne is right behind Holst, leading at the moment, and he's still leading. Volker's now caught right back up to him. So now Robert Ionescu is into the pits for his first stop of the race. Well, I should say second stop actually, because obviously he pitted to change his wing after that collision with Amar Khan, obviously hitting Levi's car. They're right behind each other, one behind the other, and Byrne is going to try another move, and does he make it stick this time? And yes, he does. That could be very important for come the end of the race. And now Volker is going to be right behind. Is going to try and stick behind. As Byrne is right behind Holst, coming through Maggots, now coming through Beckett's. Coming through the right hander onto the hanger straight, but Volker can stick behind here, possibly get the slipstream and try and get back past Evan Byrne if he's not careful. And he's going to be right behind, coming onto the straight. He's got the slipstream as well. Will he try and make a move on Byrne as Holst defends on the hanger straight as they come through the right hander? They come towards Vale, and he's going to be right behind Volker. Is he going to try and make a move coming into Vale? And the answer is no, he doesn't, as they now come through Club. And Holst still leads. He's still got 12 laps of fuel, so he's going for the one stop clearly. See how long he can last Holst with these guys for the moment, but he leads another lap as we're now on to lap 17. Byrne tries to make a move coming into the first corner, and does he make it stick? It's still side by side. Holst is just about holding it round there as they come into farm, and he still can't get past as they now come through the net for the last part of the new section of the track. As they come through the left-hander, they've got some traffic ahead of them actually. That could be very interesting to see as they now as they come towards the back straight, heading towards Brooklands. And Evan Byrne is going to try and make a move into Brooklands, or will he? He's got Volker to think about as well. Holst defends to the left. He moves to the left. He moves back in front of him, and he can't get through at the moment. And Southgate's in the pits for Mercedes on the bottom right of your screen. As now Byrne is right behind as Holst as they come down onto the straight. And will he try and make a move stick? We shall see. As Holst, Holst is defending very well at the moment from Byrne and from Volker. It's amazing he's managed to hold on for that long, as Verne finally does make the move stick, or does he? He's sticking around the outside. Holst, is he going to keep it coming through Maggots and Beckett's? The answer is no, he doesn't, and Holst defends very well once again, and now that gives Volker a chance to attack back. Great battling here for the lead, and will Holst try and have enough of a gap to defend, so he doesn't have to be attacked? They come down the hanger straight, and now Volker is going to try and make a move back to take the lead. Is he going to try and make the move round the outside? Is he going to make it stick? And the answer is no, he doesn't. As Byrne now tries to make a move into Holst. Is he going to make it stick now? And does he? The answer is he's sticking it round the outside. And I think he's done it. And yes, he has. And finally, Holst resistance is broken. And now Volker has the chance to try and get back past him. Head towards the new section of the circuit, and will Volker make a move on the inside? We don't know that yet. Let's have a look at the move from Evan Byrne. Holst thought he was safe, but as they came through, Byrne was right behind him, and he made a move on the inside, and he kept it round the outside as he came into Vale. Now as they came round Club, he kept it around the outside. He had more traction as he had much fresher tyres than Holst, and he made the move stick. And now Volker needs to get past Holst as soon as possible if he wants to keep up with him. For the second section of stops, as there's Holst, as now here's the battle between Volker and Holst as they come into Stowe, and there was contact, and Volker goes spinning like a record, baby, and he's somehow avoided any damage, but he is spun off the track, and that has surely just gifted Evan Byrne a huge gap. Well, it has gifted Evan Byrne a huge gap out front, and could that have big impacts come the end of the race? But that was an incredible accident there, and somehow Volker has avoided any damage. Like, I don't really know how that was possible there, because you could just see that Holst was, I think, coming in a bit on Volker there. You could just see that was going to happen, and just look at that, spin spectacularly, as I said, like a record, baby, and he somehow avoids any damage. The car made of absolute titanium there, and he gets away with it, and Holst gets away with anything as well. He just stayed on the track. He got drifted. You can see the car just going right over the top of him there. That must have been really scary for him. You can see you can see the wing. It just makes contact there, and it just starts stunning. And Holst managed to control it very well. And then the wing goes past his car. You can see just the edge of it just going over his view. If you have a look from Holst's point of view, you could see. I think Holst maybe didn't realise Volker was there. Contact there, and then another bit with his rear wheel, and that lifted him up. Look at that! He goes right over Holst. Absolutely incredible there, right in front of the fans there. That would have been some spectacle. And Volker rejoins, but for Evan Byrne, that is just gave him a lift off, and he is now comfortably in front. Holst has still got 10 laps of fuel left to go. Now here is Joseph Willers now attacking Jamie McKenzie for 5th place to try and get in the top 5. And he goes right round the outside, and he makes the move stick. Very well done there to Willers. He needs to recover after having those 2 spins early on. It's just not been his race so far. That will delight the home fans, as now Jamie McKenzie comes through the final couple of corners onto the straight. Now Joseph Willers up to 5th place, but he'll be pitting in 4 laps' time. Probably less than that, probably about 2 laps' time, for a new set of tyres and fuel, I imagine. Well, no, he won't be, as he's now going to pull off the track commentator's cars there. And unfortunately, he's got a problem. I believe it was a suspension failure. And you can see transmission and suspension failure. But Joseph Willers is out of the Grand Prix. Unfortunately, I jinxed it right there. And that is very, very disappointing for Willers. That is exactly what he didn't want if he wants to keep up with Evan Byrne at the front. As there's Robert Ionescu, who goes wide coming into the first corner there. And he's lucky that he didn't spin. Nice little save there from Ionescu. And he almost lost it as he came back on. But a good save there from Ionescu. He's running in 8th place at the moment. So what happened, you can see he just goes offline, and he just didn't seem to be slowing down at all there, despite the yellow flag being out, and he managed to recover pretty well, stop himself from spinning. But unfortunately for him, That could pay him. That could cost him come the end of the race. Here's Waze Cooper in 12th trying to recover because he lost so much time from that spin he had earlier on after that collision with his teammate Joe. They'll be having words again in the paddock. And lap 24, nearly at the halfway point of this race, as now Florian Volker is finally caught up to the back of Holst. But look at the gap; it's already 15 seconds. He almost has a pit stop in front of him. Does Byrne, as now will Volker make the move stick as they come into Brooklands, and he has now finally made the move stick as he makes it into second place. Now Holst finally comes in. Sorry about my throat, guys. He finally makes it in for his one and only stop of the race. 29 laps of fuel going. That will comfortably put him through to the end. And he goes actually onto the extreme wet weather tyres. Now that is very interesting. The rain, you can see, has not stopped, so the track obviously must be getting wetter. It's clearly still rain, so it's definitely not getting drier. And there's Felix Sondag in 6th place. And Jamie Kessie in 5th at the moment. Where will he come out? As now Evan Byrne comes in, but his second stop of the race. Evan Byrne, who now has a comfortable lead up front thanks to Volker having that collision with Holst. Everything seems to be going his way. As now the extreme wets are being put on, so the track is obviously getting very, very wet out there. As now that was, I believe, a Williams, and that is Alan Wolf who's coming in for another stop. His final stop of the race. He will be fueled to the end, I imagine. 27 laps of fuel. Volker comes in. He's actually not fueled to the end of the race, so he'll have to make another stop there. I don't know why Red Bull have decided to do that, but anyway, Volker comes out, and all the Williams pit crew nearly released Wolf right in front of Volker there, but fortunately he stopped the car before he came out. 7.6 second stop there for Red Bull. As we come back on track, there's Sean Grant in 12th place as Ricky Parkrasane trying to recover anything, and there was contact there. Lucky they didn't lose any bits of the car there, and especially not the rear wheel of Sean Grant. But they got away with it, as now Jay McKenzie comes in for his final stop of the race. Well, it depends if the team decide to fuel him to the end, and let's have a look if they decide to. 26 laps, so they have decided to do that, so I don't really know why they haven't done that for Volker there. As now Southgate comes in for his final stop of the race. See how quickly let's see if the team West, I should say, switch him to extreme wets or monsoon tyres and fuel him to the end. So let's have a look. Lap 32 we are on at the moment. And let's see, do they fuel him to the end? And that is 24, and yes it is, to the end of the race. That will be fueled to lap 56, but obviously we only have 52 laps, so Southgate will be going to the end. 11-second stop there from the Mercedes crew, not particularly fast, but they do what they need to do. Southgate's, I suppose, just in the points anyway, so it doesn't really add too much. Felix Sonntag does a 6.5 second stop, pretty quick there from the Mercedes crew in definition to Southgate, so he will come out just inside the points. As he comes out of the pits, as now Nicolas Gal comes in. Is this going to be for his final stop of the race? And 21 laps. And no, that's not actually going to make it into the end. So for some reason, they have decided not to fuel him to the end of the race. 10.1 second stop there. But I suppose is this maybe a tactic to try and close up on Holst and then make a pit stop and see if Holst goes to the end? But Holst will be going to the end, so unless I'm mistaken. So let's see how that works out for him in the end. As Gal comes out in the pits, he comes out behind obviously Holst, and he'll come out behind McKenzie. As McKenzie just comes down the straight, as he comes out just in head of Ricky Parkrasane, does Nicolas Gal. So that's important that he doesn't get stuck in traffic before the end of the race. Quinlan comes in for his. Is this going to be his final stop? Yeah, that's his final stop. As Robert Ionescu, I should say, the Romanian driver, comes in for his stop of the race, and I believe it is also actually his birthday today, so happy birthday to Robert. Let's hope that he can get some points for this race, as now Waze Cooper comes into the pits for his final stop of the race. It's not been his day after having been involved in the collision with Joseph Willows, which is, well, has pretty much ruined his race, so to speak. So he'll be wanting to see if he has any more cars retired, to see if he can get any more points. As now Roman Quag comes into the pits for his final stop of the race. Now on to lap 36. We haven't got long to go in this race. The race has kind of died down a bit since the start, so see where he comes out on track. Sam Thompson's in the pits as well. There's Volker going past for Red Bull. As Waze Cooper obviously just coming out. See if the team fuel into the end, and yes they do. 21 laps of fuel, I should say, as he comes out. See how long the stop will be for Williams, and it is a 9.9 second stop. He comes out for Jimmy Thompson after being involved in the collision at the start with George Roke. It looks like it is going to be no points for him today, and possibly no points for Anna Wolf either. So now on board with Waze Cooper, who's running in 9th place, and he spins coming into Brooklands, and that probably has now essentially cost him the chance, as he's in 9th at the moment, of getting any points if he wants to close up to Robert. And Waze Cooper unfortunately costing himself a chance to keep, as well get points and to try and keep himself in the title race. That is not what he would have wanted at all, as he rejoins in a relatively quick time, but he's lost a lot of time anyway to Robert Ionescu, as Sean Grant is actually running in 10th place. We didn't see that. So now here is Viggo Holst, who's running in 3rd place at the moment, with Mikael Skau behind him in 4th. As now Sam Thompson has just done the exact same thing into Brooklands as Cooper has just done a lap before. And he's lost his front wing. He's come off the gravel and he's lost his front wing, so he'll have to pit for a new one. That just pretty much sums up his race right there. And you can see he just goes wide there and he just loses the car. Does the exact same thing that Cooper does, except I think Cooper actually got a bit wide onto the curb, but he just lost it and then the car just went from there. Let's have a look how he actually got damaged. So he went into the gravel and it was just a little bit of a thump to the ground, which lost part of his front wing, as you can see. Goes and he just has a little bump there, and that just does it, and that unsettles the car, and there goes the front wing. And unfortunately for Sam Thompson, he'll have to pit for a new one, as now Evan Byrne comes in for his final stop of the race. So obviously I was right, I don't think I saw Byrne's fuel right. I thought he was fueled to the end, but obviously he wasn't. But he will be fueled now, as Holst obviously will have to make a final stop. Holst actually at the moment, I believe, is he leading, or he's in 2nd place? But I don't think he's actually going to come out in front, so it looks like Evan Byrne is going to be the leader. This race, Holst is running in 3rd, and actually, I believe that is Mikael Skau right behind him. Now, here is a battle for 11th place between Sean Grant and a Wolf, and my goodness me, and Sean Grant has spun like a half record, like a record that has been broken, and he nearly comes in the path of Jay McKenzie, and somehow Sean Grant has avoided damage, and he's kept the position, and he's got the position as well. My goodness me, that is a dramatic end to the race. Let's have a look at this again. So you can see, look at that, it goes right on his side and he somehow doesn't lose any of his car. And he shoves Wolf wide there and he's like, that's my position, friend. And he comes in and he so nearly takes out Jamie McKenzie. He so nearly does what James Willers did at the start, as now here is a battle for 3rd place. This is a battle, I should say, for 3rd between Mikael Skau and Viggo Holst. So Mikael Skau has actually caught up to Gal. Obviously that one-stop strategy, his tyres are probably quite worn, whereas Gal's obviously on the 2-stop. And Gal, will he try and make a move for 3rd place? We now only have 2 laps to go. And they're well behind Volker and Byrne. And now Gal does make the move stick coming down the old pit straight. Is he going to make it a stick? Don't think he has quite done it. And now Holst holds it around the outside. And he keeps the place. Sorry about that, guys. And he keeps the place just a lap for now. But Gal will have a chance onto the hangar straight. So now onto the final lap of the Grand Prix, as now Holst is under some major pressure here, and Gal is going to be right behind. Is he going to try and go the outside or inside? He's going to try and go for the outside. He'll have the grip, he'll have the tyres. Will he try and do the outside? It's going to be tough to see, and it's going to be side by side. Is Gal going to make the move stick? And he's done it. What a move by Mikael Skau to nav 3rd, as Holst going to try and make a move back. I don't believe he has, and unfortunately for Holst, the one-stop strategy almost worked out for him, but unfortunately it looks like a podium is going to be taken away from him on the last lap. That'll be very unfair. He's already had one podium this season. Holst still wanted to get another one for Force India. I'll do good for the money in the team, for the financial backing, as now here is your race leader, Evan Byrne, just coming down past the final pit race. He comes into Maggots and Beckett's. He laps the Sauber of Ricky Parkrasane, as Evan Byrne comes through Maggots, and now he comes through the second half of Maggots into Beckett's, and now he comes onto the hangar straight for the final time, as Evan Byrne who's had a good race so far. He had the battle with Volker early on. He passed him. Volker got back past him in the pits, but he passed him again out on track. And after that collision with Viggo Holst, it pretty much handed Byrne the advantage, and he has taken that very well indeed, as now Evan Byrne comes down into Vale and now comes into Club. And Evan Byrne, he retired in the last round and allowed Volker to catch up to him in the championship. But Evan Byrne doesn't make the same mistake this time, as Evan Byrne comes down the pit straight and Evan Byrne takes victory at the British Grand Prix. Congratulations to him, as Ricky Parkrasane comes home in 13th place. That is not what he wanted. Alex Southgate will come home in 7th. He'll grab 2 points on the board, as now Sam Thompson comes home in 14th. It's not been the race for Williams at all. as he comes across the line. Robert Ionescu is going to take a point on his birthday. That will be a nice little birthday present for him. Florian Volker, sorry, I should say, takes second place. As now Xavier Quinnan comes across the line. 1 hour and 29 minutes the race was. As now Xavier Quinnan comes across the line. Miklos Gau has kept third place, unfortunately, for Holst. He's got a 1.5 second gap over Holst, unfortunately. There's Holst just coming around. Very unfortunate there for Holst. The one-stop strategy nearly worked out for him, and he was leading the race briefly for 3 laps, but unfortunately, the one-stop, even though it did work, unfortunately, the pace just wasn't enough there to keep it from Gau. So Miklos Gau comes home and takes a second consecutive third as he comes across the line, and Viggo Holst will still take a very impressive fourth from Force India. They'll be happy with that. Roman Quagg takes home 10th place, and now Jamie Mackenzie's set to come home, and he'll take his best finish of the season, a rarest best finish of the season as well. In 5th place, it's been a fantastic race from Jamie Mackenzie, and his bad luck, hopefully he'll he'll pray that it is over. At the moment, it is over as Jamie Mackenzie comes round the final corner, and he'll take a top 5. He'll be very, very happy with that indeed. Now Sean Grant tries to relap himself, but it's too late now, as the flag is already flying. As now Anna Wolf comes home in 12th place. Felix Sontag set to take some points to 6th after that couple of spins he had early on, a couple of incidents I should say early on. So here is the full race results. So Evan Byrne in 1st place, Warren Volker in 2nd, Miklos Gau 3rd, Viggo Holst in 4th, Jamie Casey in 5th, Felix Sontag 6th, with the following drivers a lap down: Alex Southgate, Robert Ionescu, Wade Cooper, Roman Quagg, Sean Grant, Adam Wolf, Ricky Falkrasane, Sam Thompson and Xavier Quinnan, with the following drivers all retiring from this race: Joseph Willows, Amar Carr, Michael Mocho, James Willows, Lucas Levi, Roland Moichin and George Roque. Let's have a look at the fastest laps of the race. And the fastest lap went to Evan Byrne in the end. 1:40.2 ahead of Florian Volker 2nd, Willows 3rd, and Holst over a second behind in 4th, probably because of the weather obviously changing and getting worse. 5th was Alex Southgate, 6th Robert Ionescu, 7th Gau, 8th Kuba, 9th Carr, 10th Quagg, 11th Mackenzie, 12th Sontag, 13th Grant, 14th Mocho, 15th Thompson, 16th Wolf, 17th Quinlan, 18th Falkrasane, 19th James Willows, Roland Moichin, George Roque and Lucas Levi. Obviously those 4 drivers retired on the first lap with no lap time set, retired on the first lap. So as you can see, the penalty. So James Willows got a 20-place grid penalty for the next round for a dangerous rejoin, which caused a major incident, which is not really a surprise there. It was a pretty stupid rejoin from James Willows, I have to say. But anyway, let's have a look at the point standings. So Evan Byrne currently now has a 4-point lead over Florian Volker in 2nd place, who is now 10 points ahead of Kuba after his 9th place finish. Miklos Gau is in 4th with 33, so he is quite a distance away. James Willows in 5th, Joseph Willows, I should say, in 5th, with his brother James in 6th. Those two are probably both out the title race, and we're only halfway of the season. That's not what they would have wanted. Viggo Holst in 7th, doing very well indeed for Force India, ahead of Alex Southgate in 8th with 21, Felix Sontag 9th with 16, George Roque 10th with 14, Jamie Mackenzie now 11th with 7, Moichin with 7 as well, and 12th, Carr 13th with 7, Ionescu 14th with 6, Wolf with 5, Renz with 5, Quagg with 3, Falkrasane with 2, Levi with 2, with Thompson, Quinlan, Grant and Mocho not scoring any points. So in the Constructors' Championship now, McLaren are currently top by 12 points ahead of Red Bull, who are 5 points ahead of Ferrari, who are now 33 points ahead of Mercedes in 4th, who are in turn 6 points ahead of Force India in 5th, Renault, who are 10 points behind Force India in 6th, Toro Rosso 7th with 13, Sauber 8th with 9, Williams 9th with 5, Lotus 10th with 3, and Virgin last with 0 points. Well, that has been the British Grand Prix. I hope you guys enjoyed that race. Don't forget to, obviously, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. So thank you very much for watching, guys, and we will see you for the next round of the season, the German Grand Prix at the Nürburgring. Thank you very much for watching, and we shall see you there.